Forsaken, a killer versus survivor game similar to Dead by Daylight, has a wide cast of characters, including admins, myths, and hackers. But some of these characters are kinda ass, so I'm gonna be ranking them by how effective and how fun they are to play. So obviously, this whole list is just my bias to how good, or bad, or boring they are. Starting with... I do not care what anyone has to say, he is the best survivalist in the game, and for a good reason. Let's go over his abilities real quick. Noob has 2 Bloxy Colas that are completely silent when drinking, and grant him speed 1, making him faster or as fast as the killer depending on who the killer is. Slate Skin Potion, giving Noob 70 extra HP, but slowing him down, turning him completely into stone, giving him a speed boost if the ability doesn't run out of extra health, which is crucial if thinking of ways to escape chases. Now, my personal favorite, Ghost Burger. Ghost Burger gives Noob Invisibility 3, which makes him transparent, also giving him Undetectable 1, which means he won't be seen by abilities that can see through walls. Honestly, the most underrated character in the game because most noobs just die incredibly quickly, so everyone thinks he's bad on default, but if played correctly, he could be the killer's worst nightmare. I feel like putting Elliot in any other tier lower than S would just feel wrong because of the amount he's given and the amount he gives. This time, only having 2 abilities. His first ability, Pizza Throw. When your teammate takes any form of damage, they will be highlighted for you and only you. When the hurt survivor picks up the pizza, they will be instantly healed 50 HP, granting you Rush Hour. Next is Rush Hour, and oh my god, this is the best ability in the game. Giving you Speed 3. For 2 seconds doesn't sound like much, but it makes you faster than every killer in the game. If used right, you can completely get out of a chase with a killer that's low stamina or just doesn't want to get looped anymore. Overall, for a support character, Elliot is incredibly strong, so putting him under anything but S is just criminal. So please, protect your Elliots, because God knows what they're doing to protect you. Boring, unfun, and does absolutely nothing. I don't have anything to say about Two Time. I genuinely don't understand why nobody plays him. He's honestly the backbone of the team. Having 2 abilities like Elliot, Builderman can place down sentries or dispensers and has the chance to both play offensively and defensively. Once fired at the killer, your sentry will give the killer a slowness 1 debuff, give you enough time to escape if the killer doesn't deal with it, having to hit it twice to go down. And the dispenser, once built, will shoot, healing juice in the air, healing a tick of damage every second. But be very aware of your surroundings. If you're caught building in the open, you cannot leave that animation, and you will take unnecessary damage. Overall, if you get creative with your sentry spots and put your dispensers where killers will never see it, Builderman can honestly be the biggest annoyance when it comes to killers trying to server wipe. So putting him in S tier is kind of a no-brainer. Shedletsky, the easiest character to learn and master, having only 2 abilities for a sentinel. His first ability, Sword Swing. Shedletsky slashes whatever's in front of him. On contact with the killer, it stuns for 3 seconds. His second ability, Fried Chicken. Whenever you're in a safe space, he eats his chicken, healing up to 35 HP over a short period of time. I mean, what else can I say? He makes you feel badass, stunning the killer for your friends, or self-healing when the Elliot dies. He is pretty counterable though, so do us all a favor and try to stay consistent with your swings. .007 is the last character in the survivalist class, and in my opinion, the most interesting to use, having 3 very unique abilities from the rest of the group. His first ability is Clone. He duplicates himself and has invisibility for 4 seconds, also having Undetectable 1 for 4 seconds. With his Inject ability, he can switch the clone's movements from Pathfind, Cursor, and Aimless. Aimless, moving the clone aimlessly. Cursor, moving the clone wherever your cursor is pointing, but I guess it doesn't work on Xbox. And Pathfind, controlling the clone to the furthest spawn point. And Cool Guy, or Cool GUI, teleporting him to the furthest spawn point after a certain amount of time has met. But try not to use this outside a safe space or the killer could just hit you out of it, restarting your cooldown all the way back to 45 seconds. Also, a neat little trick about 7 and 7's clones is that if you are low enough HP and the killer is tricked by your clone, it will play the death animation, giving you way more than enough time to escape. The only reason why he is in C tier is because his kit really isn't that good against competent killers, and 90% of the time when you use your clone during chase, you're just dead. Which kinda sucks because it's pretty interesting, but even the best 7 and 7s are just time extenders. Yes, my favorite character of the group. Guest, like Shedletsky, is a sentinel, being able to stun the killer and having 3 abilities this time. His charge ability can knock back the killer, making them unable to hit or use any abilities for a second. And this is where Guest shines, his bread and butter, the block. If you hit the stun right away like a parry, the killer will be stunned for 3.5 seconds. However, blocking the attack and saving the punch strategically would be better, but it only stuns the killer for 1.5 seconds. I also see a lot of guests charging to try to gain distance away from the killer, but please don't do that. It does more harm than good. But just like Shedletsky, Guest is very predictable if not used correctly, so pray to God the killer's mad aggressive. Chance is the easiest S tier decision of my life. We're talking about someone who can stun from a distance, and even if he misses, he'll be fine. And also someone that can reroll their stats and health to have way more than Guest. Though the weakness can be a little bit crazy, any good chance will just wait it out. And then, after a while, when the time is right, just blast the killer in the goddamn face. And yeah, sometimes the gun just blows up in your face, but 90% of the time that's your fault. Having the most consistent stuns and the furthest stuns, this is the easiest S tier. Okay, look, I know he's good in the right hands, but remember, this is also on how fun they are, and he's kinda boring compared to Elliot and Builderman. Like the other supports, Dakar has 2 abilities. His first being spawn protection, giving the player a shield, and resistance 4, making hits that would do 20 damage, do 5. Never ever use this move next to the killer though, because if you do, you're granted slowness 1, but you can't actually move anywhere, so you're kind of a sitting duck. But a cool thing about spawn protection is you can do it from an incredibly long range, up to 250 studs. Next is Plasma Beam. Hitting a survivor can grant them speed 1 for 2 seconds, and while hitting the killer can grant them slowness 2 for 2 as well. But unlike Elliot with Rush Hour and Builderman with his sentries, he doesn't have anything but his team to rely on, making him one of the more weaker characters in the game. Our last survivor is the newest survivor, Taph, and oh my god, he's overpowered. Only having 2 moves that are simple to use but incredibly punishing for the killers. His tripwires give the killers slowness 2 and shows the killer's aura to everyone. Everyone! That's not even his best ability. Subspace Trip Mine is a transparent bomb that can hit through walls, messing with the killer's movement and making them not able to use their abilities for 2 seconds. And I mean any ability, that includes normal M1s. Obviously, you can be caught with your pants down if you're putting down a tripwire right next to the killer, but no one's stupid enough to do that. I genuinely do not know what they were thinking while balancing him, because he can honestly dominate most killers. If you're playing against 2 or more Taphs, unless you're Jason, you're probably gonna lose, especially if there's a Builderman. Though he has a shorter health pool than most, he's honestly pretty good, whether in the right hands or new players. The only time you die is if the killer outsmarts you, or you're bad. Finally, we move on to the killers. First is Jason, the starter character of the 4, but that does not mean he's weak. He is not weak at all. Having a base M1 damage of 20, with each connect he inflicts bleed on contact, dealing more damage each swing. Jason, like every other killer, has 3 abilities, his first being Behead. Behead has a lunge attack, giving you a better chance of hitting it mid-chase, giving other players helpless, meaning they can't use their abilities for 8 whole seconds. That's 8 seconds of no stuns, no heals, no nothing, honestly. His second skill is Raging Pace. Raging Pace makes Jason unstoppable and immune to stuns of any kind, and all of his attacks deal 20 extra damage. His final attack, Gashing Wound, stands Jason in place, losing all of his momentum, but if connected by this giant fucking hitbox, he deals 50 solid damage and 70 with Raging Pace. Though most Jasons are very aggressive and easily stunnable, most of them would just use Raging Pace countering you instantly, so you should not sleep on this killer. This is my most controversial take on the list, but just hear me out for a second. They have nerfed his damage so much to the point where he just kind of feels a little underwhelming. He's not bad by any means, obviously, but compared to how he used to be, he's just kind of a shell of his former self. Doing a solid 26.5 damage per swing, his M1s are pretty good, especially because of how fast he is. His first ability, Corrupt Nature. On contact with the survivor, it will inflict slowness 1 and highlight them through walls, which is great because this is the only killer in the game without X-Ray. His second ability, Walk Speed Override, forces Cool Kid to dash in a straight line at great speeds, dealing 25 damage on impact and an extra 10 to 15 on burn. His last and most useful ability is Pizza Delivery. He spawns 2 pizza dudes that walk towards the nearest survivor, helping him find anyone in case they're hiding. Though he's in B, I still think he's a lot of fun to play, so don't let me stop you from playing the silly little guy. I do not give a flying fucking fadoodle cake about what Snowy Flaky says. He's the best killer in the game and I will die on this hill. His M1s are huge, doing 28 damage per hit. 28! His passive, Unstoppable, making every stun in the game 2.5 seconds instead of 3. His second passive being Natural Malevolence, leaving footprints of corruption, dealing damage over time. His first ability, Corrupt Energy. John Doe penetrates the ground, lifting his arm back up, shooting out 26 spikes, blocking paths or dealing damage. Once a survivor is damaged, he has gained Speed 1 for 7 whole seconds. His second and best ability is Digital Footprint. Once a survivor steps in it, they are given Corruption 1 and Slowness 2 for 10 seconds, while John Doe gets Speed 1 for 10 as well. His last ability being Error 404, giving him the ability to see through walls and find any hiding or remaining survivors. And remember, just because the killer takes skill and you need to use your brain to be good with them, doesn't mean they're bad. Okay, all the 1x1 footage got corrupted, so here's a PNG of him. His moves, they're pretty good. They're alright. Very match dependent, but yeah, he's a good B tier. B tier! Yay! B tier!